What up, what up? It's Ace OG, back with another topic, back with another video. So the title of this video is gonna be, your job is not coming back. So admin notes, thanks again to all the subscribers that subscribe to my channel. I endeavor to keep pushing the videos out, to give you leverage to better yourselves. So let's get into it. So your job is not coming back. So I know that's a harsh reality for a lot of folks. I think a lot of folks that have been laid off, furloughed, or whatever the case may be, have been kind of holding out for a good little while now, since the beginning of this year when this happened, that eventually something's gonna happen to the economy. On the positive side, you know, as far as like these corporations and the government, I guess realizing they made a huge mistake by letting you go, right? And your job position is gonna be like given back to you to a certain degree, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm here to tell you, man, like it's a fantasy. It really is, you know what I'm saying? It's a straight fantasy. The job is not coming back, right? And you know, it's not necessarily just because of AI. I mentioned that before on this channel, that AI is eliminating a lot of jobs that are out there right now. But it goes a lot more deeper than that. It really does. Like, the government and the corporate America as a whole are just literally trying to downsize. They do not want the influx of folks that came into the job market as far as who they employed, you know, during COVID, and even before that, right? They're trying to save their bottom line. Now, honestly, personally, I think this a bigger agenda that's going on right now, because you know the government understands that by eliminating jobs, that the economy is going to take a hit. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, from what I've seen over my time, you know, living in America, that the government normally doesn't intentionally tries to ruin the economy, right? They want the economy to be up, right? And that goes without saying with the elite that's in America. You know, even though they may not care too much about the lower man on the totem pole, as far as like, you know, folks that don't have as much money as they do, they don't have enough status. At the end of the day, they need people to buy their products. They need people to patronize businesses. They need folks to be able to prosper in the government, right? They don't want a recession, right? So personally, I think it's a bigger agenda that's going on right now, but I can get in that into another video because I don't want to get into like conspiracy theories, but trust and believe, man. Trust and believe, you know what I'm saying? This is intentional, and I really believe that there's something going on that's outside of our knowledge that's going on, right? But in any case, we're talking about your job, right? Your job's not coming back, man. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it really isn't. A lot of federal workers that lost their job had jobs in the federal government that were anecdotal to the federal government. In other words, these jobs were not, they didn't have an equivalent on the civilian side, right? I mean, that was a big thing when I was in the military, when I was in uniform. There was a lot of jobs in the military that, you know, once these folks got out, there was really no job in the civilian sector that really equal to what they did in the military. So a lot of folks, you know, either they like tried their best to stay in the whole 20 to retire because they knew that their skill set was not going to be, it wasn't going to be transferable to the civilian sector, right? Or they tried to pivot into another job field before they got out because they understood that, being infantry would not get them anything, that was going to pay them a lot of money on the outside other than, being a police officer or law enforcement or security or something like that, which, sometimes depending on where you live at, it might be low pay, but that was really the only thing that was equivalent to what they were doing in the military, right? And there's a lot of like specific jobs in the military that like literally like once you get out, your resume means nothing because that particular job you had in the military does not equate to anything in the civilian sector. And unfortunately, there were a lot of folks in the federal government that had jobs like this. So you got a lot of folks that lost their job recently in the federal government that had a job that like, unless they were working for the federal government, it really meant nothing in the civilian sector. They look at their resume like, what can you do for me? Because there's nothing that's equivalent to what I need in my particular, at my company, right? So that's a big thing. And I said in another video, like, this reset that I'm equating to right now, as far as like, how things are going in the job market. I really believe that a lot of folks have to change what they do as far as like a job, right? I think a lot of jobs that were lost are not coming back ever, right? I can't say never, because, you know, God can do anything. But, you know, it's pretty close. I won't say never, but I'm saying that it's not coming back because, I mean, like, there's a very good possibility that it will not come back, right? So, you know, a lot of folks got to change their job field, man. A lot of folks gonna have to like change what they do as a job, right? And, you know, unfortunately, a lot of folks in the federal government and even in the civilian sectors, for like corporate America, was making six figures. And, you know, anybody lost a job that's six figures, unless you actually working for, I don't know, I can't even really equate whatever company it is, but I mean, but like, it's hard, man. It's hard to get a job that is equivalent to what you was making, because once you get those six-figure jobs, man, especially when you get a job that's like paying like $200,000, $300,000, like folks don't normally leave those jobs, or they acquire so much of a skill set that they literally just go out and say, you know what, I'm getting paid this much money. That means that I'm probably worth way more than what I'm getting paid. So then they start a business based off of that skill set, right? But for the most part, if those folks don't want to be entrepreneurs, they don't leave them jobs. So once the job is eliminated, like you're trying to get into the same sector of a job field, and it's like these folks are like, they're not leaving their job, man. You know what I'm saying? Or there's no openings for that particular job. So, you know, I really want folks to really get over the fact that they got fired, that they got laid off and furloughed, you know what I'm saying? And thinking, you know, from a fantasy world perspective, they're like, some kind of way they're going to get their old job back. Like, forget that damn job. Like, it's over with, man. It's over with. It really is. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say it that way, but I mean, but it's the doggone truth, man. The job is done. You know what I'm saying? Even if some miracle happens to where the job comes back, right? There's so much of distrust with that company or the government that, like, you know, even when folks are offered a job back, it's like, you know, unless they're desperate, you know what I'm saying? Like, then from that point, they may say, okay, well, you get my job back, okay, cool. But even when saying that, in their mind, it's like, you know what, they could let me go again. So even though they may have accepted a job back, they're still gonna be like, well, you know what, I'm just gonna keep looking, because I have no clue what's gonna happen with this particular job here. You know what I'm saying? This thing that's going on right now, man, like, it's really, really, really made folks distrust the government, man. Like, for real. Corporate America, like, they really put people in a mindset with, like, you know what, I could care less about, you know, what you have as far as like a job, and what you have as a skill set is like, you're unimportant. You know, what you was doing for this company, what you were doing for the federal government is just not, it wasn't important enough for me to keep you, right? And I want to really get this into folks' heads as well, because I know folks have probably said this in other videos, but I really want folks to understand this, right? Because at first, when folks were getting laid off and furloughed, they were saying it was job performance, which was BS, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure there was some folks that was like that, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, you got folks that have been in these jobs for like 15, 20 years, and we're getting evaluations every single year, right? And, you know, if you wasn't producing, then they would not have kept you. You know what I'm saying? You know, unless your skill set or your work ethic like diminished for some crazy reason, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, once these folks got into like longevity in the government or corporate America, for the most part, their jobs were pretty much set, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want folks to really feel like they understand and, like, you know, like internalize their job loss as like something that was their fault. Because for the most part, a lot of these folks, it wasn't really their fault. It's literally downsizing, right? Saving the bottom dollar, saving the bottom line for the companies, implementing AI, like I said before, you know what I'm saying, as far as like being able to, you know, to have these jobs, these skill sets, you know what I'm saying, be done by AI, so they don't got to pay you anymore, right? And then also, I mean, just creating smaller government, creating smaller corporations, you know what I'm saying, so these folks can get richer. You know what I'm saying? I know it's more than that, but I mean, but like, at the end of the day, if you're a person that owns $1 billion business, for the most part, you're gonna put yourself in position. At least I would, right? As far as like, you know, put myself in the best position possible, to where like not necessarily that I'm screwing people over, but that my legacy does not go away, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, unless I decided to sell the business, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I'm gonna make sure that this engine keeps running even after I die, even after I go away from here, so I can pass that generational wealth to my family. So, you know, even though, you know, some of these folks that are up on the top, of the tier when it comes to that company, they probably do have a heart for people. But at the end of the day, they're still thinking about themselves. They're still thinking about their families, not you in particular, right? And unfortunately, a lot of these folks are collateral damage. So, yeah, man, the purpose of this video is just to let folks know and to really, get this thing set in people's brains to where, like, I don't want folks to really walk around here and soak in the misery and think that, like, someday, some kind of way, this job is going to come back. I'm telling you, man, for the most part, for most people, I'm not saying all, you know what I'm saying, but for most people, the job you lost is never coming back. I'm sorry. I don't want to say never, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, but it's not coming back, yo. It's not coming back. Get over it. It's not coming back. Get over it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying this to be disrespectful. I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm saying this to be as serious as possible. All jokes aside, your job is not coming back. So what you need to do is that you need to keep searching for a job if that's what you want to do, right? Or start a business or pivot into a different job field. And I understand that, like, a lot of folks have been laid off or like in their late 40s, 50s, 60s. And it's like, like, how can I, leave a job or get fired from a job I did for over 20 years and just go into a whole different sector of work? Well, if you got a family, you better. You know what I'm saying? If you got a family, you better, because, what's the alternative? Not working and lose everything you have, right? Not working and get foreclosed in your house, not working and get your lights cut off, not working and lose your car, not working and, going to, like, serious credit card debt. You know what I'm saying? Like, folks got to work, man. Not everybody's built out to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody's built out to be a hustler. Not everybody is built out to be able to make money on their own, right? So you got folks out here, a lot of folks out here that they literally cannot survive without working a job. That's just the reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would not, I would not put things out like that to the point where, like, folks are kind of leery about, like, oh, the entrepreneurship field or that sector of work is going to be flooded because all these folks losing their jobs. Nah, man, that's not going to happen. If you want to be an entrepreneur, I'm telling you, you better go ahead and just do it right now, because it's not going to get flooded. Folks want a job, man. Folks don't want to work for themselves. That's the reality of things. You know what I'm saying? They want a job. And a lot of these folks are really, really, banking on their job coming back. And it's not coming back, man. It's not. All right? So I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. When we discuss the topic or subject, you can get the benefit to your channel. Email me at asog757@gmail.com. My email address is in the description below. Say so G signing out. I'm gone.